Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today I want to go over the latest controversy, something that's been brought up in the past, but more so recently, and I thought some decent points were made, but I do want to go over that controversy, and what that controversy is, just like you see from the thumbnail, we're talking about the price of games, whether it be AAA, whether it be indie, whether it be long open world games, or shorter 7 to 10 hour games. So we're going to get on a little bit of a hot topic here, see what everybody has to think about it, but without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what I want to go over is the latest controversy I'm seeing all over social media, and what has sparked this controversy with the latest pricing of games in general. You know, recently we've had, before this, the price of $70 games, and those folks out there stating, well, it should stay $60, or we have subscription services like Game Pass or PlayStation Now, or whatever the case is, and it is a lot cheaper that route, obviously. So we have a lot of folks pointing fingers at $70 games in general, so that's what we kind of handled before, or what was brought up. Well, recently, a lot of people are bringing up the latest release from Nintendo, which is Metroid Dread. Now, so this game is around 7 to 10 hours to complete for most folks out there that aren't completionists, but are just doing a quick run through, which I'm sure once you get the maps down and the bosses and all that, you could do that even quicker. But your first time going through it, that's about the time period that you can take to go ahead and complete that game, essentially. So why am I bringing that up? Well, a lot of folks are pointing out the fact that, hey, this is a 7 to 10 hour game that not only has been in development for quite a few years already, but this was scheduled to supposedly be on the handheld, like the 3DS, but it got moved over and upscaled and just kind of redone and reworked for the Nintendo Switch itself. So the big controversy being that this is still a $60 game. Even though this is a AAA game, we're talking about $60 for a 7 to 10 hour game. So we've had some controversy in the past about $70 for Ratchet and Clank, and that being $70 for a 10 to 14 hour game to complete the main story for the first time especially. So I get the context of why that is, and people are comparing in conjunction right now Metroid Dread with, like, let's say an indie game such as Cuphead, which has about the same time of, you know, play time to go through it, especially your first time and really working with that difficulty curve. Stating, you know, Cuphead's around $30 when it was first released, which now you can get it from, you know, $15 to $20, if not cheaper, depending. And still a really phenomenal, great game, a masterpiece, if I do say so myself as well. So, you know, this is where everything's really subjective, right? What is $60 worth to you? What is $70 worth to you? What's $80 worth to you, if that's the case? You know, we're talking about deluxe editions or special editions. So this is really kind of a subjective matter. And a lot of folks are trying to state, well, yeah, this is not only is this a AAA though, but this is a side-scrolling game that can be completed in that time. They don't feel that there's a lot to it. And I get that, but I don't think that takes away from the fact that, you know, everybody is going to vote with their wallets, right? So if somebody doesn't like that particular game and doesn't want to spend $60 on Dread, if somebody doesn't want to spend $70 on Returnal or Ratchet and Clank, they're not going to do that. The sales will speak for themselves. As soon as that happens, what happens if a game doesn't sell that well most of the time? What happens if it doesn't sell that well most of the time? Well, they typically will drop the price. Unless you're Ubisoft, you usually drop your price of your games within 2 months, regardless of how well it sells. But for most like AAA games, if they don't sell well, right off the bat, they will drop that price within 2 months from 10 to 15. If it holds up well, if it sells very well, it stays at that premium price. It doesn't really drop most of the time. So you got to kind of take some context in between there. And I'll tell you what, these if you think Sony fanboys are bad or Xbox fanboys are bad, try to, and again, this is no offense to the Nintendo fans out there, but if you're a fanboy, that's a hill they die on. It doesn't matter Nintendo can do no wrong to the fanboys of Nintendo. They will not call that out. Their titles, their exclusive titles are their babies. They have stuck with them through thick and thin. There is no wrong that Nintendo can do. Case in point, someone brought out, and it gave me a pretty good chuckle. Let's bring up the Nintendo Labo. $80 for cardboard that you fold and make different items with and put them around your Joy-Cons or the Switch itself. And I mean, it's a cool concept, don't get me wrong, but you're you're having cardboard and you're selling $80. And a lot of folks actually bought this. This isn't like that it failed. It sold fairly well. I don't know if it was, I would have to look into the statistics on sales on how well it sold, but I believe it sold fairly well. It may not have sold like, some other iterations like Ring Fit and other contraptions like that, or Mario Kart Circuit or something. But it did sell fairly well from what I understand. If I'm incorrect, definitely let me know in the comments below, because I only briefly glanced at some of the sales for the Nintendo Labo. But it just, the reason I bring that up is because it's kind of funny. It's just cardboard that they sold you that works, and I like the concept, but it's just interesting. However, turning back around to the price of things again, even if you're talking about Nintendo Labo and the games that you could do with that, everything is just super subjective, and no one can really tell you what you can or cannot enjoy and what you can and cannot spend your hard-earned money on. Again, if the game is garbage, if Metroid Dread was garbage, which the reviews are definitely saying it's not, I haven't played it myself. I do have a Switch. I'm missing out on a lot of exclusives there just because I don't have the time. I'm trying to keep up on my PlayStation as it is. And it's very difficult with a full-time job and family, and I get a lot of time as is. But, it's a great game. It sold well so far. It's, got high reviews. It's a very solid quality AAA game. So I don't think you can really compare a game depending on the hours. And then, and that goes for anybody else that's making fun of something like Returnal or Ratchet and Clank or any other game that is 7 to 14 hours, whether it's 2D, whether it's 3D. Keep this in mind. I will have your receipts out there. I have seen those fanboys poking fun at those types of games, stating that that's not worth it. Are you insane? $60 to $70 for a game that's that long, one and done? Maybe it's one and done for you. Maybe folks like to go back through there or go back a few months later, try to get everything. Not everybody, 100% completes a game the first time through. And sometimes they're done for a little bit the first time through, or they just want to revisit it just because they enjoyed that title so much. So again, everything is super objective. I don't think a price has to reflect how long a game is for it to, give you that quality. I think if it's a quality title, it doesn't matter if the game's 5 hours. That's subjective to you. Again, us as a consumer are paying the devs and the companies, so to speak, right, all this money to play the games. If the game is garbage, we're not going to touch the game. Or a few of us will have bought it and we got burned and we're like, hey, until we know better next time, we're not going to touch this particular game series or something like that. But, and I think we've all got burnt to a point. So, that's something to be skeptical about. That's a whole nother topic. But it just all boils down to everything being subjective. So if you're pointing out or causing issues for what you don't think is a quality title for that price, and you think a particular company is overcharging you for that game, well, then you can vote with your wallets. And I tell you what, a lot of folks out there, including myself, I can't get to every game, and I know these games will mostly eventually be on sale within a couple months or so. And usually you can get those for half the price of what those released for, and you're not really out the full amount of money anyway. You know, you got your heavy hitters out there, the AAA heavy hitters, which you're going to have the big fans of those. Those are going to sell day one. You're talking about Metroid, you're talking about Mario's, The Legend of Zelda's, Pokemon, you're talking about Ratchet and Clank, you're talking about Uncharted, God of War, Halo, Forza, stuff like that that is going to be day ones no matter what. That just prints the money. That's what's going to happen. You're going to sell those copies for the most part. So, you know, my point is, do not judge a book by its cover. You cannot gauge the quality of a game by the price. That you feel that a game like Metroid Dread or Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart does not deserve its price point, because a lot of the, you know, fans out there, a lot of the supporters, the consumers, will not buy those games unless they felt they were truly that quality. They felt that deserved the price point. I promise you, people will not buy that. You know, and it already reflects on games like those that are maybe casual fans of, let's take Far Cry, for example. Everybody knows Far Cry drops in price around $20 right away, within a month or two. Easily. So if you can wait for 2 months, you can get it down there. You don't have to spend $60 for that game if you don't want to. You can wait. Nobody's forcing you to buy these games. If you feel like that company is ripping you off by setting that price point, don't buy it. A lot of that is subjective. Hands down. There is no argument to be made. It doesn't matter if it's 2D, it doesn't matter if it's 3D. It doesn't matter what the game is. We all enjoy different genres of games. We all are fans of certain heroes and heroines and everything like that. Different leads, different type of genres as well. And it just really is all subjective. So those trying to get clout, or those out there just trying to stir controversy, knock it off. People that see that stuff need to call them out as is. They can't say any different. It's kind of ridiculous. As a matter of fact, it's very ridiculous, and it really doesn't matter. 60, 70, 80, whatever you think that is worth, you will pay that, I'm sure. In a perfect world, we would love everything to be around $10, right? That's not going to happen. But we all want to support the devs the best that we can. At least those of us that are actual natural gamers and understand how it works. Whether we wait for it to be on sale, we do want to support the devs in any way we can. And if it is a quality title, we're going to show them we deserve that time and the blood, sweat, and tears that go into making games. As we all know, that is very difficult to do, and to make it as fluid as it possibly can be. And I will tell you this about Nintendo, 99% of the time with their exclusives, they are spot on. And I feel that's the same with PlayStation. I feel that's mostly the same with Xbox as well, for the most part, with a few misses like Crackdown 3 or something like that. And even we can look at Sony's The Order. I think that was priced wrong. That we can take that example and say, okay, this was short and it was mostly cinematics and there wasn't a lot to do. But that is a very rare case that we can argue that price point theory there. For the most part, it doesn't matter if it's 7 or 8 hours. If it's mostly gameplay and it's solid and it's quality content, I believe it's worth it. And I think the rest of us out there do. If you don't, definitely let me know in the comments below. But I did want to speak my peace of mind on that. So without me ranting on too far, I appreciate you hanging out with me until the end of this video. The support is much, much appreciated. And again, let me know your thoughts and comments below as well. I'd like to hear from you and your thoughts about price versus quality of the game and hours, 2D versus 3D and all that stuff as well. I'd like to have a conversation with you, or at least hear your thoughts and opinions. So thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at 124 subs right now. That is fantastic. I know, like I mentioned previously, I went on Twitter before, and there's these groups that you can attach your name to in these threads, and they will try to support you. But a lot of times that's not organic, and they would jump in and jump out after like a day or two. So I kept shooting up and down. This is all organic. I haven't been doing that for at least another month. I'm not going to continue to do that at all. I just thought it might kind of help boost up the algorithm and have some help, but that's just not the case. So I do want to stay organic. I believe this is what's going on, is this is organically growing. So thank you all. If you are new to the community, thank you so much. For those of you that have been sticking around day one or a couple months ago or whatever the case is, Thank you so much for your support, and welcome everybody else that has joined the channel. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It definitely helps out a small streamer like myself, so that's much appreciated as well. And of course, you can follow me on Discord by joining below in the description. I also have in the description my Twitter handle as well as Instagram as well, so feel free to follow along if you'd like to as well there. More than happy to have you follow along. So thanks again. We'll go ahead and wrap up the video here, and until next time, we'll see everybody on the next Xvault gaming video. Take care.